The People's United Party is accusing the chairman of the United Democratic Party of tampering with the voters' registration list, specifically those voting using proxy votes. In a letter sent to the Chief Elections Officer, Josephine Tamai, the PUP's campaign manager for Cayo Central, Horace Grant, accuses August of demanding that the registrar sign hundreds of blank proxy forms. The letter states, quote, "The registrar refused to sign such proxy forms, which then prompted him to make a direct call to your person, where you were instructing the registrar to sign these blank proxy forms." End of quote. The PUP says that this is a blatant act of corruption, but Alberto August says that is totally false.
Let me relate to you all what happened on Tuesday, the 27th of October. There's a policeman who will be working election day duties. He approached me and asked to assign somebody to vote for him by proxy. The law states that an agent of a political party can't vote for nobody by proxy. So then therefore I cannot vote for him. So I found somebody in our constituency who could vote for him. He filled out the application form. I took it to the Commissioner of Police because that the law states that the Commissioner of Police should sign it, but then subsequently to that, the Commissioner of Police delegated authority to the commanding officers of the various police formations for them to sign on his behalf. But I took it into the Commissioner of Police to get his signature. When I arrived at the Commissioner of Police office, he was not there. I called him on telephone and said, "Sure, leave it there. I am going to sign it." I left it, and a few days later, I went back for the form. So I made 2 trips to Balmapan to pick up the form. When I got there, it was already signed. So on Tuesday, I went into the registration office in Cayo Central, Santa Elena, to deposit the signed proxy form along with the person who is supposed to be voting for this policeman. The office was busy. When I said busy, in the sense that there were the elections people working behind the counter, checking the banners. I was the only person there seeking service at that time, right? I presented the form to the lady, and the lady reviewed the form. He said, "But the commissioner put a date on it." I said, "Miss, the same date when that policeman signed the form, that was the same date that I think the commissioner just insert the date." Well, she gave him back the paper, so I inserted the date. I think it was the 10th of October, right? I inserted the date and I gave it back to her. He said, "No," he said, "I cannot accept that." I said, "Miss, this letter is duly signed by the voter and by the Commissioner of Police, stamped by the Commissioner of Police. All that was missing, the Commissioner of Police forgot to put in the date." The lady refused.
One thing that both parties can agree on is that August did make a call to the Chief Elections Officer.
So I called the Chief Elections Officer. I was still outside of the registering office. I called the Chief Elections Officer and explained the situation to her. So she said, "No, man. You say, I talked to the lady right now for the lady to accept the thing. All we needed was the date." So well, I stepped inside. And by that time, the Chief Elections Officer had already spoken with her. So I told her, "Mr. Assistant Farmer," he said, "I am not going to refuse. I'm not going to sign that. You know here?" Well, I said, hold on to myself. I said, "Well, then you must be bigger than the Chief Elections Officer." So I got on my phone and I put it on speaker and I told the Chief Elections Officer, "I am right here right now." I said, "You told me that you were going to speak with the lady. The lady is still refusing to accept the thing." And then she said, "No, man, said the lady is supposed to accept the thing." So I said, "Miss, you hear the Chief Elections Officer." And I sat back, right? The policeman at the door told me why the lady said to get the paper. She never told me, you know, that the policeman had to tell me. In other words, she refused to speak with me. So the policeman told me that, so I went and I gave the lady the paper. All she needed to do, because I done review it already, was to sign it. I sat in that office, silent, for 15 minutes before a lady signed the paper, and then somebody else told me that the lady got the paper ready. That was the level of that. In terms of 100 blank, what are we going to do with 100 blank proxy forms?
August says that if the PUP, specifically Horace Grant, continue to spread the false allegations against him, he will seek legal advice from his attorney. Chief Elections Officer Josephine Tamai responded to Grant's letter. In her response, Tamai tells Grant, quote, "At no point in time have I instructed any of my registering officers of any staff member of the Elections and Boundaries Department to sign any blank proxy form on my behalf." End of quote. Tamai does acknowledge the call that August placed to her as she goes on to collaborate August's version of events. Tamai concludes by stating, quote, "As the Chief Elections Officer, I will ensure that the facts are brought to light and will not allow any political party, candidate, or representative of any candidate to attempt to misinform and misguide anyone that any act of corruption or illegal activities are occurring within the Elections and Boundaries Department." End of quote. The persons who the law permits to vote through proxy are police officers, BDF soldiers, and essential service personnel.